Hi, I'm Judith, and I invite you to make some holiday cards with me as we approach the end of 2023. Here's the design I came up with for this year. It's simple, it's fun, you can make a whole lot of them so you can spread the love and the joy to all your friends and family. Here are all the materials I need to make my holiday card for this year. I'm going to reuse a stamp I used last year. This was given to me by a good friend and I just love it. It's a Recollections stamp with text, some ink. I need to collect up scraps of watercolor paper that I've probably saved over the year. Some postcards. I'll be actually making my holiday card on these postcards, so I usually try to have a couple of packages of these. A thick and thin pen, black pen. I know this is going to sound crazy, but just a small plastic bottle with a small opening. You're going to use that. A couple of paintbrushes, a pencil. I like water reactive colored markers. These happen to be Tombow. Pick a color or two that will play nicely together because you're going to blend them. You need a glue stick. It's fun to have a white acrylic marker, a paint pen, an eraser, a pair of scissors, and finally some iridescent paints or pearlescent paints. This is a brand that I've worked with a lot that I like to use, and some water. And that's it. This is a really simple process. When I'm coming up with ideas for my holiday cards, I like to think of something that I can do sort of in an assembly line. So I've pulled together my scraps. I'm going to take my markers and just freehand some circles, and then when I blend them, I'm going to leave a little space, which I'll show you. Now, just for the purposes of this demo, I'm going to draw a crescent shape, kind of dark in pencil so you can see it. That is an area of the white paper I'm going to leave, because basically I'm going to just take my water and blend these colors in sort of a circle, but you know, you're going to be able to cut this out as a circle or a jewel, and so you don't have to worry at all about making that perfect in any way. So I'm just blending these colors together and leaving a little white crescent shape in each one, and I just love the way it bleeds and flows out. Now for the zhuzh part. So when you're working with pearlescent or iridescent watercolors, it's important to let some water sit in the pan for a little while so that the pigment really has time to dissolve and get activated by that water. If you don't, you're going to end up with just mostly water and not too much gold. Now I'm going to take my little plastic bottle. I know this is totally crazy, but it's so much fun. I'm going to paint around the rim and use that as a stamp, and I'm just simply going to set it over, and I do a little twist just to get the pigment to come off a little more. And I again encourage you not to try to get anything perfect. They look great. That gold is so pretty on top of these colors, and you can't mess it up, seriously. You're just painting the jar or the bottle and doing this. If you want something a little bigger, just get a larger mouth jar and paint the top. And yes, it works with glass as well as plastic. And by the way, you could also do this with just straight up watercolors as opposed to Tombow or water reactive markers. You know, pretty much anything I do, there's a million solutions to it, so, or I should say variations. So now I have my gold on each of these. That was my demo piece. And now I'm going to let that dry and add the white acrylic paint pen. So these are completely dry. I shake up my acrylic paint pen. I make sure it's working by doing a little dab somewhere else. And then I'm just going to create a star by crossing my lines, and then I just thicken those little ends, and that just enhances these little bubbles or baubles or jewels, whatever you're going to call them. Maybe they're going to remind you of little ornaments. And of course, where it's darker, you'll probably see that a little more clearly. So maybe darkening your paint is a good idea. So now that I have those, I'm going to cut out my circles. So now I have my baubles or ornaments, circles, whatever you want to call these guys, cut out. I have my postcard stamped with the text stamp. And now I'm going to use my pencil to just very lightly draw in the two sides of the heart. And again, nothing is aiming for perfection. I just like a curly Q at the top because I'm going to hang the bauble from there, or the ornament, whatever you want to call it. And once I can generally see where I want my pen to be, then I'm going to take a thick black pen. In this case, it's a graphic pen. And I want a nice thick line. And don't worry if your hand is wobbly or if it's not, you know, exact, because we're going to zhuzh up the line a little bit. So I have my thick line going. And then here's a funny trick. If I take a thin pen and I sketch along that thick line, suddenly it just looks, in my mind, so much more interesting and appealing. So here you can see that thick and thin line. I just think looks a lot more interesting. You can see it on my other cards as well. I don't know, it just works a lot better than when I just have the thick line, and I'm a lot looser with it. Once I have that part complete, then I choose a bauble or an ornament, whatever you want to call it. I figure out where I want it to go and then use a glue stick to attach it. And for me, the final touch is I like to have a little line coming down to make it look like it's hanging from the heart. And then I might write some text. In this case, I'll just do joy and health, which I wish all of you for this holiday season. Gosh, I hope you had fun. I hope you have fun making your own cards. I just love making these baubles. And if you like the video, please subscribe down below and check out my website for a link to all these materials if you need. Thanks so much and happy holidays.